Good afternoon, everybody. It's E here with 25K Trading. It's April 3rd, 2020. And, well, market's going down, which is good for us, bad for everyone else, I guess. So we've had this. I just want to go over what I've been trading today, and that's QQQ, the um, NASDAQ ETF. And so today we had this, again, 2 points, make a line. We got a little bit of this parallel of this channel going on right today. So we opened up at this high, and you see that we dropped down. So I drew this channel this morning, and there was a short done here in the middle, the median, which was quite profitable here to the downside. Now, this popped up a little bit, but I'm hoping to marinate it even more to the downside. And as you know, yesterday, we had a similar kind of play yesterday. However, Trump's tweet really did mess up things for us on the bear side. Right, guys? Um, so let me just take a few more minutes, get set up here, and be ready. We're ready here to go. So we're still going down here. We're kind of consolidating at the lows. I want to see again in this last hour whether or not we drop. Right, yesterday we obviously had a run up in the last hour to the upside, which was very, very nasty for the bears. Um, I don't know if that was a cover or what it was, but a lot of buys going in. And as I expected, they said negative 100,000 for the NFP, but I don't believe that was true. And what do we get? We got like uh, minus 701,000. So NFP is really big because I believe those are the kind of people that are counted in NFP that would make 401ks, no 401k buys. So, anyways, let me go ahead and tweet my link out here so we can get a few more people onto the stream, and I'll be back in just a little bit. How you guys doing today? What's up, Ed? How are you? So we're just gonna watch here. We have another hour and 10 minutes until the market closes. So I did a little bit more of a wave count here, guys. Maybe once we get a little more people back into the room. But I want to show you guys this new wave count I have. So this essentially, it's you can have ABC waves or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves within a larger wave itself. This is pretty much basic technicals 101. So we have that perfect ABC wave here, and then I've charted out, just for a visual representation of what could happen here in the future. We have this sort of plan. I know there's a lot of plans to say we bounce from here. We're at the 50% retrace at 180, but we've already bounced from here pretty much on Monday, right? I think that if Trump didn't come in yesterday, um, I think that we would have made it to the 80 and bounced anyways. I think we should have closed at a high probably today if Trump didn't come in. But everything was, um, the NFP did make sense, but I don't know. I just think that like that bounce there really made it bad for the bulls. Like it created a lot of more selling today, as you can see today. But I think the volume here is quite low. So let me put the volume indicator back on because we are trading the ETF, and I can get. Yeah, it's extremely low volume today, guys. Otherwise, other than the market open, very low volume here. So Because we're going into the weekend, um, well, it's been a long time. It has been a long time, Ed. So I was working at IBM. I actually quit and I left and I went to Philadelphia. Um, right when Bitcoins popped up, wink, wink. Um, but yeah, I quit there. I moved all around the world. I lived abroad. I did a lot more projects. I co-founded an app too as well. I'm now living in Los Angeles just because it's closer to the stuff I'm working out over here. So I decided to move over to the West Coast. So I've been all around the U.S. And all abroad for the last 3 years. Yeah, a lot of moving stuff. A lot of fun was had in the last 3 years. But you know what? We're quarantined here. I'm quarantined here. Um, in America, what do we what do we have to do other than trade some stocks? And saw that perfect reversal with those monthly candles a couple months ago. So decided to come back and jump in trading into the pilot seats because as you know, if I don't know if you remember, when I first left trading, I said, you know, the only time to really active trade is when the market is getting blown up, right? There's a fundamental shift where something has to give and it changes forever. And that's when I'll come back to trading. And that's essentially what I did. How have you been for the last 3 years, Ed? So this is my chart. If you guys haven't seen this one, this is the one I've been reposting quite a lot. Maybe this one should be over here, but essentially, a few days ago, at the end of March, obviously that was the fund rebalancing closing quarter end, right? That's bullish. Closes at a high here, and from there, that same day or day before, I think Nancy Pelosi announced that she wasn't going to talk to Trump until after Easter. And you can see today, even with some articles, that they haven't met since October, in person, a face-to-face kind of meeting. Um, and the models I've actually, one model I posted in chat yesterday, the IH something, the one that's funded by the uh, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, that one is actually quite conservative if you look at it. And that's the one that they're basing a lot of estimates on. And it's quite conservative when it comes to uh, measuring the amount of deaths and everything um, that has come from this coronavirus. So I'm timing it with this um, mid-April kind of bottom here, and that's where we'll probably see a little more stimulus bill come out because we haven't even really got the wheels rolling on the 2 trillion stimulus bill that came out. So I want to see more action. I want to see the well, I want to see more hearing on the news more about inaction. It's probably going to bring the market down before we have another stimulus. And I do agree with like Goldman Sachs and these other big funds where it'll just pretty much gap up to where it left off at 3K uh, SB, S&P 500, 10K, Nasdaq. So I think that we'll we'll move into the direction, uh, you know, after all this. um, Relatively fast recovery here. But right now, I don't really care about what's going to happen. Well, I do care, but that's going to happen slowly. What's going on with the intraday trades? All right, what's going on with the intraday trades on QQQ? So essentially, we can open up here. I drew the channel. Make sure you guys are updating your trend lines each and every day, like you're a computer, right? So even though you might have a line on this one day, things can change within 5 minutes. So a computer can do this constantly, make this trend lines. Trend lines are just lines that tell you if it's something's going up or something going down, right? And they're pretty much our best figures for judgment, right? We got the high point here and the low point here. We can make this channel. The other day, this channel was going the other way, right? It was going from the top left to the bottom right. But now that bearish pop has actually turned it into a bear flag, right? This looks like a flagging kind of structure to me. We have two touches to the upside and 3 touches. And the third touch broke to the downside, right? We break this trend line to the downside. Ignore the count lines. The count lines are there just for visual representations, but just ignore the count line for now. Um, if you see the pivot right here, right? s- This was the I think the point where I really thought it could have bounced, but it was not showing any type of real bounce here on the 5 minute. It was actually showing a bear flag, and it couldn't go up. And when it did finally break that, it made more of a little flag here on the small. I'm on the 15-minute chart, so it's a little different. And then, and then we had the drop here. We flag again. You see how there's some a little bit of rising. So a lot of machines did see this and start to cover or decide to buy. However, the selling power is too great, and we broke through and we dropped all the way down to the low of day, which I think is 81.29, right? And this essentially is just a pop to the upside, right? This is expected. This pop right here is expected. However, if this decides to go up here into the end of the day, I'll be bamboozled if that's the case because we essentially climbed back into this. That could just essentially we mean that we're ranging, right? It's not really a bullish indicator, nor is it a bearish indicator. I'm really hoping that today, as a bear, we close below this trend line. That whatever we do, we close below this. So I don't care if we close at 184, 184, just like slightly above, but we close like closer to the medium. We're closing outside of this range. And this bounce is 100% expected because what do you expect when you see a breakdown of the price, right? When you see a trend being broken, it's always going to retrace back to the trend line. So in this case, it's the bottom part of our parallel channel. Um, it's broken here off that bear and the miniature. I'll just go to the 5 minute. You guys can see, right? Right, bear flag here, and this is the one, if you saw my tweets, this is the one I shorted on, all right? And then this was target. So we hit that target today. That was a good trade. But I want to see where this is headed because likely I could take out if it's closing around here, I'm going to take out a short probably because that 180 right here is a 50% retracement of the drop in the pop we had last week. 180 is that 50% retracement. I highly respect the 50% retracement on any chart. I don't give a fuck about the Fibonacci sequence, the Fibonacci levels. All I care about is the 50%. My everything I trade on is based on the 50%. So I am very aware that many bulls see this 180 and will probably try to buy when it's close, right? Who want it if if it's 50% retracement, you want to buy the retrace, right? This is what can be seen right here. We didn't hit 180, but it popped up prior, at 181. And actually these are big buying sprees to the high side, right? Um, I hope, as a bear, I get my wish, but I can't change the market with my thinking. So if we close above here, like just say we close at 186, for some reason, we bullish up to 186 again. I don't know. Shorts are closing. People are betting on the last hour. Who knows? Some news comes out. We close at 186, right? That's gonna be a little more hesitant because what I'm thinking happens, and these are only my best judgments, right? This weekend's gonna be horrible. We all know this. This weekend's gonna be pretty bad in New York City according to the models. And I'll share the link to the model. Essentially, I'm using the Bill Melinda Gates model, right? And um, it's gonna be really bad. So I'm hoping, in a kind of sick kind of way, that we drop back down to lows when we close around 181. But this is normal. If we close here, this is normal. Above between 183 and 184, that is completely normal as a bear. I will not be concerned, right? But I'm hoping that we get some sell action into the close. Like the longs pretty much saying, hey, we got some profits from the lows, or let's rethink about this. But I assume that we're going to keep going up, and then we're just going to sell back down and close around this 183, exactly where we are at. This is where I think we'll close if I think everything is all right. But let's just go back to my other scenario. We close at 181, right? There's this 180, right? This big 50% retracement. If we don't pop off this retracement, there's a chance when we gap below it, right? We're just essentially going to gap, and we don't even care. My, AirPods are about to run out of gas, so if they do go off, just let me know. Um, so I'm hoping for a gap below 180, right? So on Monday open as a bear, I would love to see a gap between below 180 because that's like, oh, we don't have to deal with this level anymore. We're just gapping below it, right? Uh, that's what I'm hoping for, and that's what I'm wishing for. But again, wishing doesn't get me anywhere, right? It's where the price wants to go. But I do have my count in here, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 count, um, built into this. So essentially, I put my counts as best, just as eyeball to the levels of where I think they're going to bounce, and they're just there to remind me, hey, Eric, this is the goal, this is the plan, and we're gonna follow the plan. We're not gonna deviate from it, right? I did not deviate last week when this was destroying my short positions. I did not deviate from my plan. We're still going down, right? I think I maybe was convinced for half a second. Trump said maybe miraculously this would go down to zero overnight, right? But but I'm not gonna lie, that's probably not the case. So we have this bounce, right? This is the three wave. This is the bounce for a wave, and this is the end of the five wave. My five wave, I think, is just going to be slightly lower than the previous three wave. I don't think it's going to be that much of a down kind of wave. I think it's more going to be like, holy fuck, like let's get our shit kicked in gear. And plus, I think once we get back down here, the Fed will turn on the machines and start working with the bonds and stuff like that to obviously get some more liquidity into the market. And maybe they even might buy SPY at 162. Who the fuck knows, right? But right now, I don't think they were considering a buying because all of this week and all of last week, we were trading at a level that we've seen since 2019. Right? Maybe we go lower. Like the Dow, yes, is horrible, right? The Dow has pretty much been crushed. But for the S&P, the Nasdaq, they're relatively only like 20% away from their highs at one point, and they weren't really, it was levels to be seen almost prior to October, I think October 2019. So it wasn't much lower. So I think the Fed might wait a little bit because the Fed doesn't want stock market to cave 75%, right? I think 50% is probably the max tolerance just like how I would say. So 50% would be a good to look at, which is the 6K Nasdaq prediction I have. Will we get to 6K Nasdaq? Who knows? We might not even get lower than the low that was printed today, but that's where we'll put our money on because that's a trade, right? Um, so we have the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave. I think the end of the three wave is going to be the gap close. I think if we do close this gap at three, that's going to be the end of the three wave. Again, three wave is the strongest wave, and that's a pretty damn crazy, gap close right there. Because we gapped. Remember the day before that on the Monday we gapped down. We limited it down actually. It was a limit down on Monday, and on Tuesday we popped. So I'm thinking similar kind of action here where we limit down. We um, close that gap on a limit down. We go down to three, and then we get the rush of bulls coming right back at us on the impulse to four. Now, around three and five, I would say you can start looking for equities, right? We don't have to wait to go all the way to five. We can start buying at three, and essentially hedging against that too as well. But I think around three, is when people that are not day trading or not really, maybe have a job on their side. I'm sorry, job on their side. They're still working their job. Um, so they might be considering, hey, these are some equities I want to hold in my portfolio, such as Disney, right? We're looking for large cap stocks that likely won't be affected that great, and we're not looking for old companies. I said Disney because it's relatively stable, but and for the movie and for the online app use, growth, right? But relatively stuff like I was asked like about GM and Ford by someone. I think I forgot who it was. I think it was Raj that asked me it. And I said, they might be making these ventilators now, but they're still a car company. Unless GE, unless like GM Health really takes off or Ford Health really takes off, I really doubt that they really have any oomph in them to become the greats they were once upon a time. Essentially, it's just like a Macy's or J.C. Penney, right? I'd much rather feel comfortable putting my money into Tesla and seeing that possibly blow up to the upside and go for five, four, three times gains just based on speculation more than the earnings because obviously with the tech, right, I'm very well in very looking forward to where tech can take us in the future. So Nasdaq is definitely going to be one of the heaviest places where I invest in. Stuff like Uber. We're getting a little more action here, so let me zoom in on the five. I apologize that my blue lines are getting away, so I'm going to send this guy to the back. We can see a little bit better. Again, these lines on here, they're not trend lines. The blue, purple lines are not trend lines. They're just guidance lines. You know, if I get lost in a cave, I gotta the line out. Like that's where I'm guiding myself, so I don't change my opinion. Right, my opinion will only change when when it truly reverses. That means when there's a true breakout. When I see a multi-day, cup and handle form, and that cup and handle explodes to the upside, or I see that W bottom form and it explodes to the upside, that to me would be a confirmation of a bottom. A simple V, a V-shaped bottom, is not good enough for me. I think that's a V-shaped bottom is just temporary, in my opinion. We need a W. You guys, any questions or stuff you guys want me to look at? I know oil has gone off today, so they had that emergency OPEC meeting. So after Trump tweeted about, let's go to oil real quick. So after Trump tweeted about oil, um, here's US. So after Trump tweeted about oil, right? The OPEC guys pretty much said, "Hey, we're gonna get together and uh, we're gonna figure something out." Right? You guys know if this is the rollover? Oh no, this is a gap up. What am I talking about? This is I'm not looking at for you. Yeah, so after Trump did that tweets about reducing by 10 million barrels, whatever the fuck that means, um, we had this price action go up, it went down, and then we had OPEC come in. So you can see obviously manipulation. This is if you're saying, oh shit, this shit is manipulated. I completely agree with you. This 100%. They're using words to control the price, right? They're just using speculation. Nothing has actually been done. Nothing has been declared. Saudis need to have a firm strategy. If I was the advisor for the Saudis, I would probably say like, hey, you can't just like cut 1 month and then cut the prices 1 month and then cut supply the next month. Yeah, like just stick with the plan. Put pressure on everyone, right? We already put pressure to oil below 20. What about keeping oil at 15 and actually doing some doing some economic damage or to the oil because like it can dip 1 day into the 19s and come back up, but that's not going to do. That might make a lot of companies hurt, but you want to put the hurt, the hurt onto a company. Keep it at 15, keep it at 16, and from Trump's viewpoint, we're not spending money on gasoline. We're not doing this. If you look at how much GDP comes out of um, is sourced by energy and how much money is energy in places like Texas. It's actually not a lot. It's not a lot as much as you would think. So it's like a coal miner. I would equate maybe oil production to coal mining. Right? It's like we do consume it, and there is a lot, but, like, will we miss them? Probably not. But, obviously, this takes time and for everything to balance out, right? Once these smaller companies collapse and exploration, production, goes down much more to pretty much 0, we'll see the spring back up in prices, and hopefully, by the time the price of oil goes up, we have recovered from this coronavirus tragedy. Um, yeah, so I think low oil prices are here to stay, mainly because it's also like financial warfare. So back when oil crashed in 2015, I essentially read about the rumor that Venezuela at this time was not at the desperate level it is now, right? So essentially, and Iran back then we were still like being enemies kind of to Iran, right? We weren't really I don't even think Obama really was really being friendly to Iran back then. Um, but we wanted to put pressure on these two oil producing nations. So what do? We told Wall Street to short, right? Makes sense, right? Don't buy. Let it crash. What does that do? It puts countries like Russia, Venezuela, Saudi Arabia, Iran. It puts those countries under pressure, right? It doesn't really affect America, but because we control the futures, we control pretty much their fate. Same thing with gold. We control gold futures here in the US. That's why the Shanghai market had to open up a Shanghai exchange for gold. What was it, like 2017 or 2018 or something like that? I think it was 2017, if I'm not mistaken. They had to open their own exchange just so the Americans couldn't fuck with the futures volume. Futures. And guess what? Bitcoins in 2017, 2018 when it went up, they're like, no, 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 don't take no, don't have the futures market open for Bitcoins, right? And what did it do? It took Bitcoins down. So um, Same kind of thing, same kind of thing. We control the price of oil. It's in our hands. Whether we want to go up or want it to go down, you can see 10 $10 changes, $10 changes, uh, you know, within 2 days from two tweets. So you can see if we really wanted oil to go up to 50, we probably could make it much easier than you and I would think. Um, that being said, that's all I really want to really comment about oil. Throughout the last 4 years, the only really loser I had was in oil, and I actually bought XOP and IEO at very fair prices, but but when oil collapsed from the 40s down to 20s, it just my position collapsed, and that was actually not a fun experience to go through. So don't mind, please don't mind my hesitation on oil. It trades very crazily. It trades very more manipulative because there are a lot more players outside of the US there are inside of the US for oil, and it's more of a political kind of thing too as well. I don't think oil will ever go back up to $100, let alone $80, unless someone gets nuked. I really don't think so. And because we're self-sufficient on oil, um, I really don't think oil is going to go up to 100. Like China can just adapt fracking too and start fracking too as well. Like all nations can start doing that, and especially we're moving towards electric vehicles, hybrid trending vehicles. That's cool stuff, right? That's really cool stuff, and I hope that's going to be more adopted in the future. And with prices like here, with gasoline like this, the Saudis are also killing the electric car market too as well. So we kind of get rid of multiple birds with one stone. Speaking of Tesla, let's go to Tesla. Woo! Crazy chart for Tesla. Look at my Tesla chart. So Tesla is kind of just bumming around here at 47.70, 47. It's almost closed the gap since the earnings report where it was a reported beat because they shipped out a ton of more cars than previous. Uh, well, they beat their expectations for and they said that the Chinese factory will come back online very quick, and I do actually do believe that. The only thing about Tesla is what we're gonna do in a market where no one's buying cars, right? So I don't. So let's hop over the debate of let's go back to fundamentals. Electric cars are expensive. They're only for the rich, right? Blah blah blah, right? The Model 3 is pretty affordable, but is it affordable when it comes to $1 or $2 gas? Probably not. So I actually fear for Tesla based on the fact that gasoline is going to be so cheap in the future because of my theory. I don't believe in oil prices going back up. $30 is probably a very fair price per gallon of per barrel of oil. $30. Like to go above $50 again, gas for oil, I think would be even crazy for me because I think we're just past the peak consumption and way past supply. Like we have a lot of supply as well. But let's go back to QQQ for the day, right? So we do have that bullish action. We saw USO inch up towards the end of the day, and guys, that's with my mic. And we do see this kind of grinding up action. This next spare flag floating on here in the last, was it 45 minutes here? Right. So this is expected, right? We're expected this slow push to 83, 84. 84 above 84 for me, closer to the median would make me a little anxious. But again, I'm hoping for a gap down so we don't even bother with that 50%. So once we gap down and we go back up, that 50% will actually be a resistance point, right? I hope that happens. No guarantees. But that's the only way we can take care of the Bulls real quick that we don't even bother with that level. We just go right below it. And guess what? We do go right below when we go back up for for this four wave, we can pretty much just, fill that gap. So, right. So this four wave's gonna bounce upwards. Hopefully we have a gap here to fill. And I want to comment again, today's volume is very, very, very low. It's just like it looks sick to me. Not many participants at all today. Is it possible that QQQ is forming a sideways channel today? Well, I drew this channel today because we got the second point here. It could be forming a sideways channel. You're saying like on like a daily, right? We're forming a channel between 164 and 196. That's a 20. This is a huge channel for form. Like this is a big trading range. So if you remember what I said yesterday, it's like what 21 and 19 for Dow or 21 and 18, right? That's a big range to be trading in. So yes, we could be forming a sideways channel, but even if you say we're forming a sideways channel, it's going to come down to the low of the channel, right? It's going to come down lower. But I see this as a bear flag more than anything, right? And it's behaving like a bear flag, right? So the fact that, so the reason why this part right here is very critical for me, right, is because I want to confirm this bear flag. Because if the bear flag is confirmed, the measure move will be more than likely hit. As a trader, I know that if a bull or bear flag breaks to the upside and the upside retraces and then continues to go into the direction of the break, it's confirming and the measured move will be more than likely able to achieve that measured move because that's where the computers will hunt for. And you can see these, these tiny. Even if you probably do some analysis of these tiny flags here, it would be tiny. It'd be same thing with like the 5 and 1 minute and 15. It's all the same scaling, but you can clearly see from 30 minute 1 hour this kind of bear flag it's forming. What's up, Leo? So Esteban again. These are just my opinions, so I don't know. This could be a sideways channel, but then again, Um, like everything is a lot different, right? We have all this corona news. It's just so weird to be trading on the coronavirus, right? It's something no one has ever done before, right? Everyone says this is uncharted territories, and this could be these rips are really big because there are just as many bulls as there are bears right now. That's why we're getting these insane rips to the high side and downside. So maybe there's enough bulls to say, hey, this is the level, this is going parallel. Essentially it's a buy the low versus sell the high. But I'm looking at this from more of a bigger standpoint, more from a daily or monthly kind of chart. For example, we can kind of look at the weekly already. What does that weekly look like to you? Right? So let's say if the stock market closes right now, that to me looks like the uptrend has stopped on the weekly candle. And I'll believe the weekly candle over a 5 or 15 or 1 hour candle. That to me looks like that we have a downtrend, that we popped for a week and we stopped and it completely got cut off from the top side. That we have a clear rejection to the upside. Right? It does not want to go upstairs, thus that wick was born. And also, guys, next week, well, not next week, probably the week after next. But these streaming sessions will get longer and longer. Right now, I'm only doing the last hour of each trading session, but hopefully, when we get to that low point, I'll be able to jump in, full time because um, trading is very hard talking at the same time. I don't lie, I don't look at a lot of stuff. I kind of focus on you guys more than anything. So I want to make sure my positioning is good because I'm working with a lot of money here and I'm really trying to get that long. My end goal here is not to make, I want to make a lot of money on this short, but my point is the long is much better than the short because it's easier to take care of. You got the government, you got the Fed behind your back. What do you have to lose? But right now the Fed is going to lose a little bit, and the government's going to have to lose a little bit for us bears. So because I do not think right now it's a good time to buy. You saw my tweet earlier today. I'll give you guys a signal to buy. So when I'm buying hard, I'll let you know when I'm buying hard. But right now, I'm still in a very big cash. So what I want to look forward to the future. But this to me, shooting star, very bearish for me, very bearish. But the thing is, can these happen on the downtrend, right? Can we have a shooting star at the end of a downtrend? And that's no, right? But we do have this big green candle that buffers it, so we can say that's an intermediate kind of, even the A B, even if you say this is an ABC wave, right? You can even say this is an ABC wave from here. One, two, right, A, B, C, right? This is pretty much like a zigzag Z, right? We can even say in terms of this um, 11-year bear trend, or I'm sorry, 11-year bull trend. On the weekly chart, we clearly see an ABC retracement, and I hope we don't go lower than 143 on QQQ, but no promises. Again, that's a big stretch. I do not think we're to go lower than 143. I'm happy buying a boatload of QQQ at 160. Right? I'm very happy about it. If we hit that boatload, 160 QQQ, load me up. I'm gone, right? I'm also gone when we hit that boatload at SPY. What is the SPY? I think it's like one. Uh-oh, my sound went off. Let me double check. I think my headphones just died. I think one of them just died. uh, but um, but yeah. So I'm looking. All right, guys. I think we're back here. Um, all right. So I had to use a different mic. Apparently, when I switched microphones, it crashed my whole computer. That's real fun. But Yeah, so we're here on SPY. I think SPY can probably go down to like below, uh, around this 210 level. So those are kind of the 2 points I'm really looking at. 210 right here on SPY, just like, before the Donald Trump breakout. Um, you know, again, it could go lower. So I want to be able, because again we're in the bear trend, and it's been what, March, February, March, now we're in April, right? I'm thinking till the end of the year we have a bear market. So I don't know, once we get down there, it might start chopping real hard. And I'm talking about like almost impossible I mean, like, this stuff is kind of impossible to trade, but then when you have no clear direction, that's going to be very hard to trade again too as well. Is there a risk of a short squeeze on QQQ? It depends on what you mean by short squeeze. I think no, the only thing that would short squeeze QQQ would be stimulus of the Fed. Right? Those are the only two enemies we have, guys. The Fed and the politicians. Right? Because they can manipulate this money flow where the stocks don't drop. The Fed can literally print trillions of dollars and just buy SPY and hold up the market, right? How can our shorts accumulate, our billions of dollars worth of day trading shorts matter to the billions of dollars the Fed is pumping in? They can't, right? The Fed can literally make money out of nowhere and put it into the market. So like, we can't win against that. But they're not going to do that until things get real bad. And I think at that 50% retrace of the 2008, 2009 crash, whoop, all the way up to the 2020 high, that 50% right there, which is around 6K NASDAQ, is where I think the Fed will intervene. So you guys need to know that I am not basing my long based on, this is just, I'm basing on what the Fed is calculating too. I'm thinking like the Fed. If I want to buy SPY, do I want to have 401ks
lose 50% or more in this first half of the year? And the answer is probably going to be hell fucking no, right? I'm going to start buying assets or equities, ETFs. And they say they want to expand, right? Expand with SPY shares at 210. I wonder if you're hedging your QQQ short. I am not hedging my QQQ short. Why is that? Because I am not. I'm not. I'm not like I might say bet the farm on QQQ, but I'm really just making money on the short side. But I'm not overly leveraging here. That's the bond. So I can take a 5% hit on QQQ and still be more than okay, right? But then I have my stop losses in here too as well. So if it wants to jump my stop loss, if it wants to jump 10% overnight, go ahead, right? Like you're not gonna get me. Like there's no way at all with my current positions I would be blown out the water and lose all my shorts. There's like literally no way, right? I, I might lose some of the money I made on the short side, but because of my positioning and how much money I'm using, I'm not afraid of the bull. I'm more concerned of me not being able to hop onto that bull, that I'm not able to get the long, right? Because I had a few good equities charted out on Monday that I wanted to buy last Monday. Unfortunately, I did not get there, and I lost out on big gains on the long side. So, but then I had to continue with the plan and try to keep shorting it down because I didn't know because there was no data, right? I didn't know how far it would keep going upwards. Right, I'm more concerned about missing out on the long than raking up more money on the short. To be honest with you, because if just like you guys know, it's very stressful looking at the stock market, especially when you're going short, because short is not a natural thing to do. It's a fake. It's a derivative. Stock markets are not meant to have an artificial short on a position, right? We're not selling our own shares. We're essentially thinking the price will go down, right? So to me, the short position is extremely dangerous. The risk of squeeze is high, 24/7. Doesn't matter what time, 24/7. But in this particular instance, in this time right now, with the NFP and all major reports have passed, this is what the NFP was one of the most major reports. We don't have something that can trigger a short squeeze, other than the virus numbers going down, and also Donald Trump providing more stimulus and the Fed saying something. Those were the only, again, politicians and the Federal Reserve, the only two things that can cause a short squeeze here. Nothing else can. And Esteban, I remember you telling me where your entry is. Um, for that entry, it might be better to cover. But I want to see where the market closes. Right? I want to see where the market closes today. So let me bring back my lines. I have the critical pivot point, which is around 183 and a half, 184 area. If we go above that, if we have the big green bars pop out in the last 30 minutes, very surprised. I'll be, again, very surprised because that to me would mean this support held and we're going back up before another dip down. As a bear, I hope that doesn't happen. But then again, as I will repeat myself many, many times, so people won't think that I'm a biased bear. It's, I'm very well aware that this market could do some crazy shit here in the last 30 minutes. That's why you're here on the margin call, the last 1 hour of trading. So, but anyways, today I was dancing the whole day on that short because that was a beautiful short, Esteban. Right? Wasn't that a beautiful short I posted? It's just like when I drew that channel and I saw that, I was like, oh, that looks so good. And remember, I said to you guys, unemployment claims doesn't mean jack shit. It has never meant jack. It hasn't meant anything in the last, 7 years I've been trading, right? It doesn't mean anything. It's the NFP. NFP will show us the way. And I even made this kind of analogy on the NFP, right? We have NFP is non-farm payrolls. So even in the name, non-farm payrolls, they're essentially saying like these are, pretty much like office jobs, right? Like, I mean, when I think of NFP, I just think of like office jobs, right? And these are the people probably included in the NFP or or people that contribute to 401ks. Think of the average, corporate guy. Average person that goes to college, that graduates from college, goes to corporate life. They get a 401k and a 401k match, right? Most people are probably gonna max it out or put some money in their 401k, right? So, when you lose 701,000 and your fucking prediction was 100,000, holy fuck, right? I even said this on my uh, broadcast like maybe 2 days ago. Like, they're predicting only 100,000. Hell no. Right? Like 701,000 jobs, and look, there's no more money flowing to that 401k. The unemployment claims is probably going to pay off bills, right? People are going to get depressed. I think the last thing a lot of people are thinking about is going back into the market and buying the dip. Let's be honest here. Like, I'm not, as a person, if I was on Wall Street, I'd be like, oh, fuck these peasants, whatever, like, buy, 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 sell, sell, sell. But we're privileged to be in that position, especially if you're playing with a lot of money here. We're very privileged people to be able to make money on the stock market just out of nowhere. But the average person that has 50k in the stock market, in their 401k, right? The average person 401k, they're not going to be buying here. They're going to be either frozen. They're probably going to be frozen right now. Like, they probably have other shit to take care of other than their 401k. And that's why I think this fifth wave comes in. It's literally the capitulation of all day trader and buyers on the dip. I think this is the dip that wipes out pretty much all the day traders, all the Robinhood bulls, and pretty much the last amount of day trading bulls. I think people that think their portfolio will be okay in 2 years and still holding, they haven't sold. So I think some of those people will jump out too as well. But I think by 2021 we should be back up to the highs, 100%. But right here we need another capitulation on dip buyers. It just needs to happen. I don't think the market is low enough to say that's outrageous. Yeah, that's why DMD animal. That's why I'm a very skewed perception of investment accounts, because you guys hear me all the time. I have no political bias. I don't want to vote. Take myself out of the equation, right? But I have to think like other people, right? I have to think like where if I was, like a family of four, if I was the father, I'm unemployed, sure, employment checks, here on the news are coming in slow. Like, what am I doing here? Am I buying 401k right now? Fuck no. Last thing I do. Fucking trying to buy a fucking N95 mask, right? I'm probably trying to buy an N95 mask, right? But anyways, back to QQQ. We have this chop action here. Chop, 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 chop. Right? We're heading down here. And it's again the low volume here is really not a good sign for the Bulls. It's almost as if they gave up. In my opinion, it's almost as if they gave up. And maybe some fun rebalancing or some margin calls here. It's already past margin call time. So the next thing we coming up is around 12:40, 12:45. We should have the funds rebalancing coming in the second half of this last hour. But really, yesterday we had some great, crazy, exaggerated movements into the last half of the day, right? Look at this. From the end of the day, we just essentially bowled all the way up. But here we tried the same kind of thing, and it fell flat on that trend line at 183.30ish, and it's come down from here. And even look at the candles, right? Look at these candles. These are, these are this is pinned. The price does not go anywhere, and especially with the amount of put and calls, like I feel like a lot people have start trading options a lot more, and the premiums have been going up. So the easiest way to make money is to sell an option, because the likelihood of that option making any money is small, and then you can hedge it, so it's pretty much impossible to lose money on. Especially, so like it's too many puts, too many calls. That's why I think the price is pinned here, and then we just gap down, right? All the puts that thought we were gonna go down lower, the mass amounts, the put call ratio was retarded yesterday. Sorry for using that word, but it was very imbalanced to the sell side, to the downside, and so I get this up action that we had for the last few days. It's just to wipe out those puts. Like, those puts don't need to be here, and then we'll just reset, right? The calls, and there's also a sick amount of calls to the upside too as well. So as we decay, we end up here 183, right? and I think that's a good place to pretty much stop in the day at 182 here. Oh, Bitcoin's gonna fail. Bitcoin's stupid. I don't know. If I like Bitcoin, but I think that trade has passed. We rotate, right? Okay, I don't. Okay, I'm gonna say this one time. I'm never gonna mention again because some of you guys know this, some guys don't. You guys remember the Ferrari fund? Um, well, I didn't get a Ferrari. I got something better. But anyways, that's all I gotta say. Um, I remember when you guys told you guys from buying Bitcoin, just put $5,000 into this. Don't even trade it. Just don't even look at it. Save it for the future, right? So I just all I want to say. I don't know if you guys, I know you guys know me as a asset trader outside of Bitcoins. Oh, you still remember Esteban? Hell yeah, good stuff. Um, but anyways, I'm over Bitcoins. Like, I'm over it. I'm over it. Bitcoin's it's just like it's also heavily regulated and heavily controlled. It's almost I think Bitcoin's the reason why I'll say why I got into Bitcoins back in 2013 was because of illegal activity like everyone else. Or I'm sorry, not illegal activity, frowned upon activity, right? So, I think the stock market is much better to invest in anyways because we have crazy gains in the stock market too, right? If you put in 10K into UVXY in February, you probably made 200K by now, right? It's like crazy stuff like that. Online poker, solid. I like online poker too as well. Oh, I don't like online poker. I'm sorry. I like playing poker in real time, but I don't find poker to be really of a game where I'm there to make money. It's more to have fun. But I am definitely not a losing player in poker. I play 1-2, right? But anyways, enough about that. Market's coming down here. It's 12:40 here. Got 20 minutes left to the market. We're coming down here sharply. We got another flag here on the 5 minute. So I don't think this one is as cool as the other ones, but we'll see. But this one I've noticed with my little eye, it's somewhat broken down here and it's already done that retrace. But because this is on the 5 minute scale, I really don't think this could do much. But theoretically, this bear flag here should tell us that we're gonna come back down here to lows 181 here. Maybe shed off 50 cents of the price. But we gotta see. Right, again, this is a 5 minute scale. Patterns and candles work better on higher time frames. The higher the time frame, the longer the trade. The shorter the time frame, the shorter the trade. Exactly, Esteban. Exactly, you got it right. So, wait, DMD, I think I remember you from a long time ago. I remember you. But you know how to play poker? You just pretend to be stupid. It's your first time you played and 1-2. That's what I do every single time. I just pretend it's like the first time I ever play poker. Ask some stupid questions. Maybe even play out of hand real quick. That's my favorite. Just to play out of, fold real quick before your fold. So they have to go like, oh, you're not supposed to fold until your turn. It's like, oh, I'm sorry, I've never played before. That's the best one. Because everyone plays by the rules in poker. So if you don't play by the rules, you'll win against people that always play by the rules. For trading, it's completely the opposite. I think you either play by the rules or you lose, right? What the rules in poker, or what the rules in trading are, is don't fight the market unless they're getting crushed like right now, right? We don't. If this was a bull market, we would not be shorting this at all. But I honestly I believe America's in a pretty bad shape right now, and economically wise, it's just this is crazy, guys. Like this is crazy for everyone to be in their homes for 2 weeks, and look, it's pivoting to the downside. Right, so the bear flag did break to the downside. around what here, what 181. The market maker has spoken. He wants the downside. Oh, nice. They didn't exercise it and just went out of the money for your BA option. That's what I'm telling you, man. Those the options are good stuff. Oh, that's very. It's very nice for you to type that. That's good. I'm not always right, but sometimes I look like a fortune teller because that's the whole point of being a trader, right? You're a fortune teller. You can pretty much see the obvious, tell them something you don't know that could become true in the future, right? So just based on observations only. Anyways, we're heading down here. I hope we can get a new low close. So if you guys were here, 30 minutes ago, I was ranting about whether or not this line would be broken, right? If we bull up here, if at this point when I said if we go up here, then I'm saying the bear's fucked. Like there's no way the bear scenario is going to play out. But I did not think that was going to happen. And I still think we're going to keep going down here, guys. 181.77. We got another, like what? Right, that was the 50 cents I just said. Right? That's the 50. Well, that was the $1. The 1 point drop. And that's why I don't find myself playing GDXJ and GDX anymore. It's just like you guys probably have discovered me first because I was trading miners. But nothing about miners really excites me anymore. Maybe because I just kind of like got over it. I closed a huge position on miners. And right after I stopped, I think miners ripped. Right, and I closed down like fuck this. Like, let's go bitcoins. I think that's when bitcoins were popping, pop, 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 right? And then altcoins got me in the end. So I made significant money off bitcoins, then also lost significant money off altcoins. And I was like, fuck this. Like, I'm going back to I'm going back to stock and equities. Why not? Why short QQQ, not IWM? Because IWM is I don't want to short IWM. Again, I don't want. It's not like I'm going for like like $1 million home run here. Like I'm not doing that. I'm just making money here on the short side before and judging every day when I should enter long. And what I do when I'm in the bull mode. Well, I first of all I founded a company. And I created an app too, which is based in China. I've consulted to as well. I've literally just lived like a bomb across the world for the last year or so in 2018, 2019. I kind of just like traveled the world and lived overseas. It was actually that's what I do. See, and that's the life I want to go back to. I do not. There's not at one point in my life where I'm saying, hey, why don't I just quarantine myself inside of my home and also stress myself every night talking about stocks and thinking where to buy and where to sell. Right? What do you think is the better life? Putting your money in the stock market long and sitting on the beach in Costa Rica? Or losing your fucking mind, waking up at 1 o'clock, looking at investing.com to see where the fuck the futures are right now? Like, I think any of you guys would want to agree with me, right? Let's just fucking put our money in and just make some money. Right? I got other shit to do. But I think this is like the one opportunity where I think that we can generate even more wealth. If you were able to close at the top and you're just holding cash, you're in a very good position to benefit off this. As fucked up as that sounds, you're in a very good position to benefit when the stock market comes back up. In terms of the stock market, right? In terms of everyday life, I think we're all fucked. But in terms of the stock market, I think if you were able to close and have a large cash position, and you just don't wanna, you just want to throw that shit into like Uber and see Uber go up to $100 or $200 per share. Like now is the time to do that, right? Now is for us to see, hey, there's a lot of stocks up. What is the next Amazon? What's the next Netflix? There's all the time these stocks are appearing. Yeah, that's why I left Costa Rica. Actually left Costa Rica and then I went straight into New York. New York City. I lived in New York City for 2 months, uh, and then I moved out here to LA. But Costa Rica was fun. But I like like Asia more. I like Asia a little more. I am still a pro GLD to 1900. Well, I'm sorry, gold value to 1900. Whatever happens here from 16 to 14,000, I'm sorry, 1600 to 1400, I'm sorry, 1900, right? Anything that happens between 16 and 14 is nothing to me. I don't care, right? I'm long to 1900. Gold, I think, is going to go up from here. There's no way I think gold will ever go down to $1,100 a share. There was a massive flag, the massive cup and handle. I don't think gold is going to go down, but I'm not going to trade miners. That being said, I'm not trading miners, but I'm more than happy to support gold to 1900. Especially with this QE, gold is going to be more valuable because we got to think of nations outside the US too as well, right? Emerging markets are battered and bruised. The dollar is going up, right? Silver, forget about silver. Silver's stupid. No one flashes silver. Gold is where you want to be. And look, huge pop. Right? So it just wants this. It's just like fucking around at this level right here. Right? Actually, that's not even a huge pop. If I make the graphs, the chart smaller, it just looks like very tiny. Here we go. This is what I'm talking about. This last fucking 10 minutes. If this last 10 minutes squeezes all the way to 185, I'd be pissed. This is exactly what I'm talking about. I knew those fuckers were going to do it. I knew those fuckers were going to do it. I knew it. You can short this. So if you guys want to short this, right? This is what I'm saying. Like, this is the end of the end of the day short. If you're not really afraid of getting blown out over the weekend and you think this is going down, this is probably the last short you'll get at 184. But obviously, if you're bull, you could say like, "Oh, this is good for you," right? But this is the last moment where you can get that short in before the weekend. And I'm not saying go ahead and short, but I'm saying this could be the last opportunity because this is what we predicted happening in the second half of the day, or I'm sorry, the second half of this last hour, right? 184 got hit perfectly, right? Almost perfectly between 183 and 184. They're gonna fuck the pattern up. That's what they're doing. No, this is the market rebalance. This is a hard buy and cover at the same time. Right? And the thing is, there is no volume here too. Although the price is being moved, you'll see the jump from 182 on QQQ all the way to 184, like right, like that jump, right? But there's no volume out of it. If I told you that was a $2 billion buy, right? That's absurd. A $2 billion buy should not move the market like that. So to me, this is the reason why it popped like that was because of the lack of liquidity. The reason why it's popping like this is the lack of liquidity. And I think that, again, this will be taken advantage by someone else, right? We're gonna take this back down, take it back down, because there's still 8 minutes left. Again, 8 minutes is fuck. We can go up another, we'll go up to 186 in 10 minutes, right? This is what I'm afraid of. They need to push this back down, right? I'm saying we close at 180 right here on the trend line. That was my prediction for the close of the day, like 183.50 or like right here, right around here, 183.50. Crazy pops, right? The thing is, I think in 5 minutes we can, you know, we have the possibility of making that same jump in the next 5 minutes and also make that jump back down also in 5 minutes. So let's see what happens. Again, I'm bear. So want to disclaimer, I'm bear. Right, this is the again rewind. This is the exact same thing I'm fucking talking about. This fucking line right here. Like this just looks like a line, but this is much more than just a line. What does that mean, E? What does that even mean? All right, take it down, wind it down, wind it down. You got 5 minutes left, or I'm sorry, 6 minutes left. Sure, that spike. Good luck. Good luck to you too, John. Hopefully it doesn't go up higher. Hopefully they, hopefully, where they say, whatever the price of the market now, it's truly reflective of the market. Well, the fucking market just jumped like that in 5 minutes, so you can say with the arbitrage thing, bring it back to fail market, come back down. But then again, I've seen some crazy shit happen here in 5 minutes. There we go, last five. This is someone else, right? This is why I love it because, like, although I'm a bear, I know a big fund out there has to be bear as well, and also I know all these other players out here, which is all these components are all mixing together in this last 10 minutes of just pure struggle, pure price battle. Every single time this thing ticks down, someone is winning, someone is losing. Everything this time this ticks it up. A bear is getting crushed, or a bull's winning. This is why it's crazy. There's a billion fucking players on this one candle bar, probably. I guess maybe 2 billion is too many. There's millions of players on this one candle bar, and billions upon billions of dollars flowing in. So we got another 4 minutes here, and that's why I love the stock market because it's such. Um, you have some good idea to keep more profit when it doesn't reach target. You can just set stop loss. Like everyone can have their own way of doing it. A stop loss is the easiest way. You move up the stop loss, right? So if you're say a two to five ratio, 2.5 risk ratio, right? You're risking $1 to make 2.5. You can essentially just set your stop when you hit the one, right? So if it comes back up and hits your stop, you're stopped out, and your ratios will still be good. It'll still be a profitable kind of win. Um, but if you're having trouble doing that, it's probably because of how much money you're putting in. So you need to know how much money you have total in your portfolio and how much you're more willing to risk, right? Because if the market's trading 5 or 6% a day, right, a stop loss 1% position may not be enough, right? So, but then you got to figure out how much money do I want to make, how much am I willing to risk, um, and that's to answer your question, Alex. So again, 184 right here, 183. This is exactly where I think it's going to stop. I think the action is gone unless it really wants to do another thing in 3 minutes. I think it's tired. Hopefully, John, that we'll see a more downs. We'll kind of come down to the lower side of 183. And guys, this is what we're showing on the screen is QQQ, Nasdaq ETF. It is fucking free market. Love America. Right? We got this the mutuals. I'm sorry, all the fund rebalancing happening on these last 2 bars, last 3 bars, and this is the 5 minute. So Alex, it all depends. Like when you're setting your targets, you need to know where you want to take money at and where you're gonna, lose the, max pain for you, right? And you got to figure out how much money to juggle both ways. So when you hit your stop loss, you won't be frustrated, and if it hits your money, like you're not gonna be overly excited either. Like it's not supposed to be like it depends. Like I'm right now accumulating positions and then taking positions away if they're getting hit, and essentially just being more focused on the short side. But I'm doing it in a way where if the shorts break, I'm still going long anyways. But until that day that my shorts are breaking and it's breaking out in every single kind of trend. How do I stop it from there? Well, I just change sides. I just go bull, right? Then, but you can say how if I go bull now, try to recoup my losses. What if it whiplashes me? Well, that's why I think you need to do analysis more on the bigger time frames too as well. So if you're getting whiplashed, right, which is the market goes down, market goes up, and you're losing money both ways, you need to look at bigger focus of your objectives. For example, you can go long here, right, and the market probably in 1 or 2 years will be higher than here, right? Actually blowing up quite a bit here. 30 seconds, guys, until the market closes. I just want to see where this closes because I really think again anything can happen here. It can rip the last 30 seconds up to 186. I'm just making sure it does not happen because that would put a dent in my plans. Oh, look at that. It closed right on our white trend line. That almost confirms that bear flag for me, guys. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I've never seen something trade so mechanically ever. I mean, right? I showed you guys this flag I'm talking about. I'll draw it one more time. I know I got a lot of lines on here, so just bear with me real quick. Right? We have this flag. Right? This is the flag, and this bad drawn rectangle is supposed to be this teal thing, right? But that's the flagpole. And if you measure this flagpole, so I want to tell you one more thing, guys. When we measure this flagpole, and these are it's a rough measure, so I'm not using the magnet tool. I just want to show you my other tweet this morning. It's if you measure this flagpole, right? It actually goes. Look at this. Look. You see where this gap is? Right? And look at the measurement, right? The measurement of this bear flag of this price in range in here leads me to believe that the bottom of this broken flag ends at 172-ish, which coincidentally is pretty much identical to the gap fill, right? So be it, right? It so happens to be exactly gap fill, and it's just because this is such mechanically traded that machines are predictable. They're just faster. Right. So, if you guys believe in the bear, I think we gap down. If you guys believe that this is the last stop before we rep to the high heavens, good for you. But I do not. I believe with the coronavirus and all the politics and all the fucking shenanigans happening in right now, and the fact that I'm going crazy inside of my quarantine, indicates to me we go lower. So That being it, I'll hopefully maybe I'll get on sometime during the weekend. Yeah, what else am I doing during the weekend, right? What else am I doing during the weekend? What else are we all doing this weekend, right? We're doing jack shit. Let's be honest. None of us are doing anything this weekend other than staying home, right? Unless you're working in an essential job. Um, Thank you for being out there, but I'm not. So let's. I'm gonna come out with some charts and stuff this weekend. Hopefully, I'll stream a little bit. I want to develop my website and everything like that. I want to let you guys know that I've never charged for a service for trading like this. I never will. It's never gonna happen, right? But I want to have some kind of. I want to be able to ramp up my Discord and have the 100 traders with me online. Um, um, I want to have 100 traders with me online, just like good old times. I've been repeating myself a lot, but we'll get back up to the peak 25K trading boiler room, right? We'll get there. But during this time, everyone do what Leo just said. Stay the fuck home. Wash your hands. Don't do things that you think you need to do. Just stay home so we can get this over with. Because I do not want to be pent up in my house. I want to be on the beach drinking margaritas in a nice long bull position that will rip towards the moon. That's where I want to be in life. And let's hope that we can accomplish this the next 10 days. We're looking for that long. So, see you guys later. Is E here with 25K Trading. If you like my stuff, just like today's video and follow me here on YouTube. I'll be doing this every single day, starting at 3 p.m. Eastern time to 3 to 4. But hopefully, once I get my studio up and running, I'll be back to where we used to be, streaming 6 or 7 or 8 hours online each day. But first, I got to make sure my positions are good, and we're gonna kill it, guys. I'm not gonna lie, but we're gonna kill it these next few weeks, because we already know what we need to do. A lot of people are running wild, but I already know what I need to do, and you already know what you need to do. So let's get this shit done. Call it a day. I'll see you next time. See you guys later.